In February of 2024, a German YouTuber named Felix uploaded a rather disturbing video titled "Exploring an Abandoned Hotel in Italy" to his channel, Adventure Buddy. Felix's channel is dedicated to urban exploration, and for almost a decade he's been documenting footage of his adventures exploring various abandoned locations around the world. In this particular video, Felix, along with two of his friends, decided to explore an abandoned luxury hotel located somewhere in Italy. According to Felix, the hotel was abandoned sometime between the early and mid-2000s. Since its abandonment, the building has unfortunately become a haven for squatters and homeless individuals, but the explorers remained undeterred and set out to explore the abandoned hotel. As they began their exploration and entered the building, they immediately noted that the hotel, despite being abandoned for decades, was in a relatively good condition, suggesting it had fortunately not been vandalized by looters or squatters. As they explored further, they discovered an indoor swimming pool, a massage parlor, and even a sauna. Fascinated by their discoveries, the explorers continued their exploration. For almost the next 10 minutes, the explorers moved from one side of the building to another, and everything up to this point seemed to be going quite smoothly for them, as they didn't hear or see anything that indicated anyone was currently inside the building with them. The explorers then decided to leave that section and decided to explore the upper levels. However, as they were approaching one of the rooms, that's when they made a chilling discovery.
Ich habe so das Gefühl, dass das Ding pleite gegangen ist. In manchen Zimmern hast du hier so Aufkleber, wie so Insolvenzaufkleber, zumindest kenne ich das. Oh, mein Gott, der Wind fegt hier auch durch. Zumindest kenne ich das aus Deutschland so. Was natürlich heißen würde, dass hier wahrscheinlich nicht mehr allzu viel Inventar zurückgelassen wurde, wenn es wahrscheinlich dann irgendwie alles veräußert wurde. Naja, hier sind wir auf jeden Fall. Was? Okay. Unschwer zu erkennen. Jetzt sind wir hier aber auf der Etage mit den Hotelzimmern und hier steht doch tatsächlich noch was drin. Da hätte ich jetzt nicht mit gerechnet. Betten, Schränke, also es war alles so Einbauschränke. Es riecht so, ne? Du? Es riecht so, ne? Als wäre hier irgendwie noch jemand. Da ist auch.
After hearing noises coming from one of the rooms, Felix immediately froze and remained in his position to determine their source. He eventually left the hallway and entered a different room. During this time, he discovered a few empty bottles and noted that the room had a very strange smell. Disturbingly, his friend mentioned that he had also found several garbage bags and more empty bottles in a different room. By this point, they suspected that people might be living inside the building and could be responsible for causing the noises. The explorers then decided to investigate their source and eventually moved towards the room. However, as they were approaching the door, that's when they stumbled upon something truly disturbing.
Da hat definitiv wer gelebt.
Ja, auch wenn man sich mal diesen Stuhlkreis da anguckt, der da auf dem...
Entweder ist das hier so eine kleine Partyhöhle oder eine Crackhöhle, wie man das immer so kennt, so. Weil da hinten, ist Haufen Bierflaschen, da haben Leute geschlafen, da sind Müllsäcke aufgehangen, sogar gegrillt wurde da anscheinend.
So riecht's hier auch, finde ich.
Ja.
Hier, finde ich, riecht's verkohlt. Oh. Ist da was hinter? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh. Oh.
Everything alright?
Mach mal die Kamera weg. English? Can you do this? Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry, just taking photos, okay? Okay, thank you.
We're going.
Ciao. Oh, mein Herz. Mein Herz, das habe ich ja noch nie erlebt.
As soon as the explorers approached the room, a man suddenly appeared out of nowhere and opened the door. Startled by his presence, the explorers immediately began apologizing. However, after their brief exchange, the man aggressively shut the door and went back to the room. After this chilling encounter, the explorers immediately left that hallway and started walking in the opposite direction. To make matters even more disturbing, the explorers later mentioned that the man was most likely a homeless individual who appeared to be intoxicated. When the individual opened the door, the explorers noticed that the man had dilated eyes and also spotted illegal substances lying on the side of the table. By this point, the explorers had lost interest in exploring or investigating the building further. As a result, they ultimately decided to end their exploration, and they managed to make it out of the building without any harm. Nevertheless, the explorers were extremely fortunate that day that the individual wasn't aggressive or hostile towards them, as encounters of this nature often end with explorers being harassed or even attacked by people with sinister intentions.
Hey, just real quick, 98% of people watching aren't subscribed. If you're enjoying this, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, and maybe drop a like too.
These right here are two YouTubers named Dan and Robert, who in October of 2023 uploaded a video titled Mysterious Abandoned House Found in the Woods of Georgia to their channel Adventures into History. Their channel primarily focuses on urban exploration, and they frequently share footage of their adventures exploring various abandoned locations across the United States. In this particular video, Dan and Robert decided to explore an abandoned farmhouse known as the Old Willis Place, situated in a remote part of Georgia. According to the explorers, the farm stretches over 500 acres of land and was built during the early 1900s. However, during the mid-1900s, the owner sadly passed away, and the farm has been completely abandoned since. For over the last several decades, the locals in the area claim that the house is haunted and has been actively linked with paranormal activity. Despite its dark history, Dan and Robert set out to explore the abandoned farmhouse and uncover the truth behind these claims. As the duo began their exploration, they ventured deep into the woods to locate the abandoned house. After walking for a while, they finally reached the property. Once inside, they discovered that the house was completely empty and was on the verge of collapsing. This indicated that the house has been abandoned and neglected for a considerable amount of time. During the first few minutes of their exploration, they began talking to their viewers about the history of the house. The explorers then went outside the house and decided to go underneath the crawl space to explore what was inside. During their exploration, they stumbled upon various items from old broken bottles to several kitchen utensils. The explorers, fascinated with what they had discovered, decided to explore further and went to the other side of the house. However, just moments later, as they were searching through the crawl space, that's when they encountered something truly disturbing.
I want out.
Well, what else did you find?
Coming out, I found an old piece of something, piece of saucer.
Yeah.
This place is super fascinating. I'll go back under, or look back under when we go around front, so I don't have to crawl as far to get to it. All right, so now that we're back at the creepy old house, let's look under it where we saw that room that looked like it had been previously divided. All right, I'll give you that to hold while I crawl under there, and then
You want to take the camera with you?
yeah. So that's a 1958 Coke bottle, right?
What is that?
Oh, that's weird. Here. That is strange. You heard that, right, Dan?
Yes, I did.
That was weird. All right, that's enough of this old house for a minute. We're gonna go look at something else.
To the explorers' absolute shock, as soon as they crawled underneath the house, they suddenly started hearing the sound of footsteps coming from the floor above them. The duo, terrified for their lives, immediately crawled out and went inside the house to investigate. Disturbingly, as soon as they got out of the crawl space, the noises abruptly stopped. When they stepped inside the house, they unfortunately found nothing that could have caused those footsteps. After this shocking encounter, the duo had no interest in exploring further, and they eventually went outside the house and began explaining what they had just witnessed to their viewers. However, as they were talking, that's when they encountered something once again.
Hello?
Sounded just like footsteps.
That's not funny.
No.
All right, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Not funny at all.
No, not cool. Not cool. I told you this place felt creepy. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. So I hope you guys have... All right, that's it. Come on.
You can say all goodbyes you want.
Let's go.
I'm gone.
Let's get out of here.
As soon as the explorers stepped outside, they suddenly heard a loud bang coming from the house. The explorers, after yet another bizarre encounter, immediately ended their exploration and left the farmhouse without any harm. It's still unclear who or what was responsible for the footsteps and the loud bangs, along with the mystery behind whether what Dan and Robert encountered that day was paranormal. But based on everything they witnessed during their visit, the only logical explanation that comes to mind is that someone might have been inside the house and was messing around with them. However, given that the only noises they heard were footsteps coming from the house, and even when they went inside to investigate, they didn't hear or see anyone coming in or going out of the house, and even if someone was actually inside the house and had somehow managed to escape from the explorers, the lack of the sound of leaves crackling or any other noises makes this theory less plausible. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide if what Dan and Robert witnessed that day was truly paranormal or not.
You know, being the juvenile that I am, what I've got to do.
What you got to do there, Dan? What you doing with that brick?
Listen,
All right.
here we go. As they sleep well.
You've awakened it, Dan.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
In February of 2020, a YouTuber named Nolan uploaded a rather disturbing video titled Exploring Abandoned Gary High School to his channel Lord Explores. Nolan's channel primarily focuses on urban exploration, and he often shares footage of his experiences exploring various abandoned locations throughout North America. In this particular video, Nolan, along with two of his friends, set out to explore an abandoned school known as Lew Wallace High School situated in Gary, Indiana. As the explorers began their video and stepped inside the building, they immediately noticed that the structures inside were in a terrible condition with deteriorating walls and ceilings, along with black mold and asbestos spread throughout the various structures. Disturbingly, some sections even looked as though they were on the verge of collapsing. During this time, they also noticed that most of the building was in a complete mess, with piles of books and papers scattered everywhere, and creepy graffiti and writings covering nearly every surface of the building. This detail indicated that the building has been abandoned and neglected for a significant amount of time and has sadly fallen victim to looters and squatters. But fortunately for the explorers, they didn't hear or see anything that suggested that anyone was currently inside the building. The explorers then continued exploring and made their way into the main hallway. However, as they were walking through the hallway, that's when they stumbled upon something truly disturbing.
Wow. Love those orange chairs. There's a poor body trapped under the ice. There's a body under the ice.
Oh, you think the room's down there?
Yeah. So there's a homeless guy in that room, and I almost opened the door. That was so sketchy. Yeah, just keep an eye out on the rooms before we go in them. Right in there, to the right. See him? Yeah, he's just chilling. Let's keep going.
It's evident that a man wrapped in some sort of blanket was seated inside the room and was rocking back and forth. Sadly, the individual had even covered the windows with papers and books, seemingly for some privacy. These details suggested that the man might be living within the building. The explorers, out of respect and empathy for the man's circumstances, wisely chose not to approach the room or attempt to communicate with him. They eventually left the man alone and decided to continue their exploration, regardless of his presence. During their exploration, they cautiously moved through the building, occasionally glancing back toward the room to ensure he wasn't following them. Fortunately, they neither saw the individual again, nor did they hear anything unusual. Relieved that the man didn't pose any threat, the explorers decided to explore the remaining parts of the building. However, this is when they encountered something once again.
Yeah, guys, that was crazy. I've never gotten that close. I don't think I've ever really encountered a homeless person. So unfortunate they have to resort to living in a place like this. He had all his stuff set up. He was just sitting, and you could see on the window there was some of the books, some pages from the books that he had pasted to keep a little bit of privacy in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's because I peeked in. I didn't even see him. I didn't know like who it was or what it was. I thought it was like a blanket or something. And I was I was literally peeking in the window, and then I'm like, oh, that's a guy. Oh. Maybe our friend came out. Yeah. Well, we gotta go back that way. That ends, I think.
We can go back that way out to the stage.
Yeah, that was close too. Yeah, let's go this way. My buddy said there's an ambulance outside the freaking door. Oh my god, yeah, there is. Yeah, that's weird. Alright, we're gonna go try and find another exit.
After hearing the noises, the explorers listened intently and eventually moved in the opposite direction from the noises. This decision was primarily driven by the fact that they had initially seen the individual inside the room and were now hearing noises. These details strongly implied that the individual might have left the room and in theory could potentially be searching for them. Realizing the potential danger that they were in, they wisely chose to avoid investigating those noises and turn their attention to exploring a different part of the building. As the explorers moved away from the noises, they noticed an ambulance parked outside the building. While it's difficult to determine the reason for the ambulance's presence or whether it was related to the individual they had seen earlier, but since there were no sirens or paramedics entering the building, it's most likely that the ambulance had nothing to do with the individual who was inside. The explorers, upon noticing the ambulance, ultimately decided to leave the building, and they fortunately did not encounter the individual again. It's still a mystery who the man was or why he was living in such poor conditions. However, one particular comment left by Nolan's viewer makes this encounter even more disturbing. The comment reads that the man has been there for years, and he was a custodian that lost his job when they shut the school down, and the man never left. If this comment is true, then this encounter takes a very sad turn. The individual presumably cherished and loved his role in maintaining the school, but when it closed, he sadly lost his job, and he made the hard decision to remain within the building, even after its abandonment. But regardless of this comment being accurate, it's a heartbreaking reality to see someone facing such harsh circumstances and be living in such poor conditions.